Today, I'm opening my college acceptance letters. We got the whole family. I'm FaceTime. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this right now. You got it! Oh my God!
The first university president in the entire university on TikTok. Go Gators!
Turn the paper in. These are the things that need to be involved with that paper.
What's up, Hurricanes? Welcome back to What's Going On at the U, where we tell you what's happening on campus so you never skip a beat.
So hello, thank you for joining us today in our Facebook Live session.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming to our presentation today. We are so excited to share with you some of the best tips and tricks and best practices to use on creating incredible online experiences. Obviously, I want to address that these are unprecedented times, and these are bringing on new obstacles that we've never had to face before. But there's also new opportunities. This is one of the first times institutions like yourself are thinking through how to build content in a way that you just have never had to do before. We're really all becoming producers and directors of our own. And today's presentation is going to walk you through really three different things: the structure of the content, the tools you can use to build those content pieces, and when you should use them and when you should not be using them, and the content itself, like what kind of content works, and how do you really put it all together in a way that is engaging and effective for the prospective students and parents. Speaking of the prospective students and parents, I want to really lay out, why are we doing this? We're doing this because at this moment in time of the year, this is the time when students and parents are really excited about the next phase of their life. They just got admitted into an institution. They're super pumped, yet they don't have any other way to make this decision other than the information that is available to them online. So that makes it even more important for institutions like yourself to create content, to be available, and to make this a real experience that is unforgettable for those students and families, because that's how they're going to associate your brand. And we want to make sure that that is top of mind. And so the things that we walk through today will make sure that you're able to do that as an institution. When you think about content, there's really, you really want to think about them in two different ways. The first one is really live and interactive, right? What are things that are live and interactive, and when you should be using that kind of structure, right, for the content itself. And then the second is reusable content. Things that can happen on a recurring basis, and things that really have information that are contained within them that don't really change over time too much, right? So those are the two types of content structures you can start thinking through. Let me talk a little bit more about the online and interactive. Online and interactive is really about creating those serendipitous moments, those moments that are refreshing, that are authentic, that are in real time, that are happening right then and there, and that really can be felt, right? Like between all parties involved. That's really what we mean by live and authentic, live and sort of interactive content itself. And then the pre-recorded are really, they're quick, but they're easy to understand, and they have information in them that are educational, but really allow for the audience to be able to go through them in their own leisure and in on demand, right? On an on-demand basis. That's really those are the two types of structures to think through. And when you're thinking about, well, what are you going to do when you think about your admitted student day, and how are you going to use these two different structures? Well, we'll walk through that in just a minute. And what we're going to do is we're going to think about these two structures and think through them on all the different types of tools that you have available to you right now. So let's go through some of the tools and the best practices on using those two structures in each and every one of them. The first tool I want to talk about is Zoom. Zoom is probably the most popular tool being used in higher education across the country. And rightfully so, it is an incredible tool, but it has its place and its purpose, and it should not be the only tool you use to engage with your prospective students and admitted students. Now, let's think about where Zoom fits in on all this. Zoom is really about the kind of engagements that you're going to have that are live and have a level of interaction. You do not want to use Zoom for repeatable types of content, right? It's all about live and interaction. So Zoom is an incredible tool to use in a classroom. Like a professor can really engage with their students on a one-on-one basis and create this sense of community and sense of interaction, right? So let's watch an example, an incredible example from the University of Tennessee where a professor does this, but in a whole different way.
When you turn the paper in, these are the things that need to be involved with that paper.
Mr. Thompson, I think you were late for class.
I'm sorry, Dr. Ha. It's been a while. These are unique circumstances. I'm sure this is the first virtual Zoom class you've taught.
Thank you so much.
That was awesome, Dr. Haas.
Absolutely.
Now you probably be wondering, hey, Sujoy, we don't have the greatest quarterback of all time to just show up and Zoom bomb some of our Zoom meetings, right? And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that those are kinds of the moments that Zoom is really built for. It's built for those kinds of interactions where people can talk to each other. And so many institutions today are thinking about using Zoom as sort of a way of extending the presentations that we used to do for information sessions to a live and sort of captive audience, but now doing it on Zoom. And that's just not going to translate very well. To use Zoom, it's really incredibly important to make sure that there is an interaction happening. And so these are the types of interactions you can have with Zoom. The first one is you can have people talking to each other that are both presenters. So you could be having, you as an institution could interview an existing student or interview an alum or a professor or a dean, whatever the case may be. It could be an interview style where the viewers are watching this interview and they can certainly ask questions to this sort of live interview that's happening, but it's really a conversation that you're having between two people on your end and letting sort of a larger volume of viewers watch and engage with. But again, you're having this interaction. It's not just one person sort of in a monotone voice just talking to a bunch of people and going through a series of slides. It's really this interchangeable sort of conversation of ideas and discussions that can be sort of one, fresh and new, and not something that you're just repeating on a repetitive kind of manner. The second way of using Zoom is, again, about creating interactions. So if you're doing, one-on-one sessions where prospective students have the ability, or admitted students have the ability today to, talk to an alum or talk to an existing student or talk to a faculty member, these one-on-one meetings are hyper effective because, again, using Zoom for these one-on-one meetings, you can really connect two people and make sure that they're having this sort of live interaction that's really effective at the end of the day. And another place you could probably use Zoom is when you're trying to do some breakout sessions. But try to make sure that these breakout sessions are small. Trying to do breakout sessions with hundreds of people is really hard to manage, and rightfully so. The time to use Zoom is really when you're thinking about small enough, between 5 to 15 people that could be in one Zoom meeting, right? And having an interchangeable sort of nature to their conversation. Again, make sure that when you're using Zoom, you're using it because you're trying to interact with your audience. But most importantly, that the entire presentation or the entire experience in Zoom is interactive. The second tool I want to talk about is YouTube. YouTube is one of the most powerful platforms in the world. It has viewership across the spectrum, and it's very easy to use and very well known by most people. You have to really utilize YouTube for the second structure that we talked about, which is reusable content. Things that are on demand where prospective students, admitted students, and their families can really go and watch whenever they need to watch or have a question. They can sort of get the YouTube videos itself to give them guidance, right? And the type of content that you really want to think about are things like your tour, things that are like sort of opening messages, things that you want people to hear, but you really want them to feel completely relaxed in the environment that they're watching this in, right? One of my favorite customers, University of Pittsburgh, I think has put the gold star for what a YouTube engagement looks like. Why don't we take a look?
We're live from Pitt Studios. Welcome to Pitt News Network. We have students and families who have been admitted to the University of Pittsburgh.
Congratulations. That's a really big accomplishment.
That is a really big deal. But what are the problems facing these amazing, smart, ambitious students?
They need to experience all things Pitt from the comfort and safety of their home.
We do have storm systems all over the globe right now.
If you don't have to go out, don't. Instead, we will bring you a taste of what it's like to be a student at Pitt.
Welcome to the Cathedral of Learning, our most iconic building on campus. This is known as Cathy to all of our students, and a place that you will come frequently as a student to study, to go to class, to go to the computer lab, to eat, and so much more.
So let's go live to Justin Newman.
Oh, hey. Oh, sorry. Hey, we're in the Hillman Library right now. At one point in time or another, you will end up in here.
Hi everyone, welcome to one of our first year residence hall rooms, Nordenberg Hall.
When students are on campus and have questions about financial aid, where can they go?
That's an excellent question. Our students who have questions about financial aid, whether they're asking about it as current students or as continuing students, will come right behind me to Thackeray Hall and our Financial Aid Wellness Center, where we have financial aid counselors ready and willing to help you in all your financial needs.
You know, the best way to connect with us, if you have any questions, is to email us.
What I love about that video is the energy that they brought. They really showed that they cared about their admitted students. And what makes this an incredible video also is the creativity that they used. They did this within a week. They got together, they realized that this is a situation that still needed to make sure that University of Pittsburgh's brand and its energy was out there. And they weren't afraid to really make a video that was entertaining, right? Obviously we're in the business of education, but this is a time that students and parents, they don't want to think about all the stresses in life. They want to be entertained. And YouTube is an incredible platform. If you can create informative, entertaining types of content that people can keep coming back to, that's the type of information that lives really, really well on YouTube. The third tool I want to talk about is really Facebook and Instagram. And I'm going to group them together. However, we need to use these tools very differently. Facebook is an incredible tool to use with parents, right? Parents have their own anxieties right now. They have their own questions, and they want to make sure that they are also heard, right, in this entire process. And the best way to create content, at least on Facebook, is to make sure that you're using the ability of using Facebook Live, which is sort of this interactive tool that you can it is interactive, it is about engagement, but it's an engagement and interactive tool that you can use that's really accessible to the parents and where they're already sitting right now, right? That's the main tool that they're using today. And the best types of topics to talk about is, again, interactions. You want to have interviews that, again, it can be students doing interviews with each other. And actually, let's take an example of a live Facebook Live event that Harvard University did with their existing students. I think it's a fantastic example. Let's take a look.
We're just going to go around really quick and introduce ourselves. My name is Bruno. I'm a junior here at Harvard College, concentrating in social studies, and I am one of the student coordinators for H5, which is the Harvard Financial Aid Initiative.
Hi everyone, my name is Ahilia. I'm also a junior, and I study social studies like Bruno, and I work for Harvard Financial Aid Initiative.
Hi, my name is also Maria. It's okay. And I'm a sophomore here at the college. I'm going to be studying economics with a secondary in sociology, and I'm a student coordinator for the Harvard First Generation program.
So we mostly want to just use this as a chance, considering we have stuff like the early action deadline coming up soon for students who will be applying to that, and just in general, we're here to answer really any of your questions. So if you guys are just coming in right now, again, quickly, my name is Bruno. We're all student coordinators for different recruitment groups in the admissions office, and we do stuff like these Facebook Live sessions to help answer questions from students. Anything college life related, application related, financial aid related, definitely.
Just life.
Just life.
Just ask us about life.
Yeah.
So as you can tell, it's a very simple engagement, but it is students talking about their journey. It's students talking about very commonly asked questions and questions that are coming in live. So you can obviously create these Facebook Live events. You can have existing students really do it, but also you could have faculty members as well as alumni speaking to parents, right, who are wondering what questions they have and how can they be guided in this journey as well. And then on the other flip side, again, keep that interactive. Try to make sure that the content, it doesn't have to be highly produced on those sort of Facebook Live, etc. events. They just have to be authentic and interactive. On the Instagram side, Instagram, though you can definitely use Instagram TV to drive viewership, it really is more of sort of this reusable kind of content, curated. This is where you really want to start utilizing your existing student population to build content. They are the experts. You don't need anybody but them. They can really create the kinds of content that come right from the student's point of view. And this can be all the way from answering questions, but also just talking about their experience, why they got to choose an institution, right? So let's take an example. Like, this is a perfect example of a student just talking about their experience and playing on Instagram.
What's up, Hurricanes? Welcome back to What's Going On at the U, where we tell you what's happening on campus so you never skip a beat. Happy Lunar New Year, everyone. This year, 2020, is the year of the rat, and the Asian American Student Association are putting together the 9th Lunar New Year celebration. Head over tonight to the Lakeside Patio at 6 p.m. and enjoy foods, performances, and so much more. See you there. This Tuesday, UM will have a guest speaker coming to campus. Bayo Lapawal will be coming to speak about a Haitian woman's barriers to cervical cancer prevention and control. This event will be this Tuesday at 5 p.m. inside the Richter Library. Coster Cinema is showing Knives Out this week on Wednesday and Saturday at 9 p.m. So take advantage of these free screenings and de-stress after class. Remember, all you have to do is just show your cane card at the door. And end your week by going to support the women's basketball team this Sunday at 2 p.m. as they take on Duke University. Alrighty, Canes, that's all we have for you guys today for What's Going On at the U. For any more information on any of these events, go to engage.miami.edu.
This is the kind of content, when your admitted students are following you or engaging with you online, this is the kind of content you want them to constantly be scrolling through and watching and engaging with. And a simple trick to sort of get this content together, just create a cohort of existing students. These could be your tour guides, ambassadors, just students that you know are extremely professional but reliable, but also just authentic. And just create a simple program where they upload videos on Dropbox on a regular basis, or Google Drive. Any of those kinds of tools will work, where you can curate, the types of videos that you want your brand to represent. Again, keeping that authenticity, but keeping that level of change, right? You can't just have the same videos there for a very long period of time. YouTube is a channel that you need to constantly be refreshing. So make sure that your students are able to create this content and they have this sort of freedom, this creative freedom to upload it into a centralized repository, so you can create, have this flow of content that you can keep pushing out into the world, right? This is the type of content where you can also make it really, really fun and engaging for existing students, like your tour guides and counselors, where there can be a little bit of competition, there can be prizes, and really make this fun and gamified, so more and more content is coming so that you can use it, right? Again, to bring in front of your audience. The fourth tool I want to talk about is TikTok. And you may be thinking, oh my God, another platform for us to wrap our heads around. Absolutely. That's just clear as day. Most people that are between the ages of probably 12, 13 years old to 18 years old are not using Instagram and Facebook as much as they're using TikTok. And if you're not active on TikTok, you need to be right now, because right now everyone is at home. Let's just take a look at what kids are doing right now on TikTok, sitting at home.
This time to shine. Gonna do the two-step, then cowboy boogie. Grab a sweetheart and spin out with him. Do the
stomp, stomp on Lucifer's sage. Now I got a few rings on Jupiter's skating. I meant to say,
right? They're bored, they're hyper bored, and they are just doing a whole bunch of different random stuff, but they're using the platform almost constantly, right? And, this is a type of platform, again, it needs to be user-generated type of videos. Again, similar kind of strategy with Instagram, where existing students, as well as faculty members, there's a whole bunch of things that people should have this sort of liberty to have fun with and be able to put these kinds of content pieces into your sort of centralized repository like Dropbox or Google Drive, where you can sort of hand select the types of videos you want to let your brand represent on these platforms. But not being on these platforms is absolutely, it shouldn't be on the table. You absolutely should be embracing these platforms right now, because that's where the audience lives. And again, TikTok is Also, though it can be interactive from a standpoint of people commenting and liking the videos, it really is a repository oriented and sort of like an on-demand type of platform. So you want to think about things that you don't have to necessarily do things live. You can curate them. You can make sure that they represent your brand and they're effective yet being entertaining. But they are really the structure of those videos are really on demand, very similar to Instagram. You know, we saw a video of how University of Pittsburgh embraced and attracted their admitted student population. But let's take a view of a TikTok of a student that, you know, just found out she got admitted to the University of Pittsburgh.
Woohoo! Happy birthday.
As you can tell, that kind of excitement, that kind of authenticity is just infectious. And so if she can have that kind of experience on TikTok, you as the institution should know what kind of, you know, what are students talking about? You know, what are they saying about our brand? What are they saying about our institution? And how are we creating content that marries to their level of excitement? And so I can imagine if she had that kind of experience on TikTok, she definitely showed up to the Admitted Student Day presentation that University of Pittsburgh had on YouTube, and I can guarantee you it sealed the deal. The final tool I want to talk about is Reddit. Reddit is an incredibly powerful tool to interact with students in a different medium. All the other mediums that we talked about today are video related, right? But Reddit is not. Reddit is text-based, but it is interactive because you can have specific what we call Reddit AMA sections. What that means essentially, AMA is Ask Me Anything. So Reddit AMAs are an incredible tool to use for people that have some credibility and authority on the subject matter that they're discussing. So this can be an incredible tool for existing professors and faculty to speak about specific programs. So the School of Business holding a Reddit AMA on a particular day can be highly valuable for those students that are really, really interested in the School of Business. One example, let me show you, was UC Berkeley's chancellor. Let's take a look. This is an example of what an AMA looks like, where students can ask anything and someone is answering them in a period of time. Again, highly interactive and highly engaging. Now that we've reviewed sort of the structure of the different types of videos you have, as well as the types of tools you can use, depending on the type of structure you're trying to bring to your intended audience, let's talk a little bit about the actual content itself, right? Content really needs to be, at this stage and at this time of the game, you really need to have content that's going out relatively fast. And so if you have existing content that's reusable and informational, it's really just time to take a look at all the reusable assets you have right now and things that you can quickly edit so that there is either playlists on YouTube or information on Instagram or Facebook that's sort of available for students and parents to go on demand. That's step one. Step two is really user-generated videos. You really want to now pull in, energize your existing students, your alumni, as well as your faculty to start providing you with user-generated videos that you can use on your institutional platforms to get the message out for admitted students, right? They want to see the community. They want to see what they can't see right now because they can't get on campus. They want to see the energy of your brand, just like the University of Pittsburgh did. And so you want to be able to make sure that all that content that is coming out has this level of user-generated and really authentic voice associated to it. And then finally, for the live events, you want to create things that are not for a long period of time, right? Just like any of these user-generated videos, nothing should be for prolonged periods of time. We're not really trying to replicate what we were doing on admitted student days on campus, which could be a 6 or an 8-hour session per day, and try to bring that online, right? For these online and sort of interactive sessions, they have to be short. Anything over 20 to 30 minutes of interaction may be too long, right? And you have to experiment with this. But what's really important about the interactive nature of sort of, if you whether you were to do Zoom or something like a Reddit AMA, is that you want to make sure that it is interesting, the topic is interesting, the people talking are interesting, and that it is actually interactive, right? It is really not meant to be sort of, it's just not meant to be one directional. It needs to have some level of bidirectionality to it in order for people to stay engaged through the entire process. And so with all of that in mind, as you create this content or organize getting this content created, I want you to think about one thing, right? Don't be afraid. I know for a lot of us, this is the first time that we're creating content, but this is the world we are living in, and it is actually a lot of fun. Creating this content, iterating on it, seeing what works, and then trying it again. That's how we're all going to learn together. And so I hope you've had a moment to understand sort of the different types of platforms that are out there, how best to utilize them, and what type of content will work with what kind of structure within what kind of tool. So I hope all of this has come with some level of clarity today. And for the following rest of the presentation, I really want to talk about how Visit Days as a technology platform is being used across the country to really pull all of these different experiences together in one place. Fundamentally, all these platforms are so strong and so effective in what they're designed to do. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we curate this entire experience. So if a student is coming to an admitted student day, they have one place that they can go to, but they can engage with you through multiple different platforms. And that's what we're going to show you right now. It's really easy to use Visit Days to get students to schedule and book for specific experiences. You can have buttons on your website. You could have links that are sent through an email. It can be behind, an admitted student portal, any of those things. But essentially, a student would be able to click on this or a link or a button, anything that you would like to customize. They'll be able to see a full itinerary of things that you want them to experience. So they'll be able to see, hey, there's a keynote speaker from the president. Then there is information sessions that are on demand for virtual tours of campus. There's also a roundtable live with existing students that I can schedule. And look, I can actually see all the different students that are actually going to be on the roundtable. And there's going to be a School of Business Reddit AMA with the dean. That's also going to be live. And I can see a little bit of the dean's profile right there as well. All of these things can be in one place. I can click in as a student and learn a little bit about, what am I going to be experiencing, but also who potentially might be the presenters. All of this will be able to be in one place, so a student can actually schedule for this. And you can also have sub-events where if you want specific experiences for specific students, you can drive them towards a journey. But, let's go ahead and schedule for a few of these things that I want to schedule for. And what you'll notice is all a student would have to do is actually they'll see their full itinerary. So this is their full itinerary of all the things that they are scheduling for in one place. And they go next, and now they know their itinerary in one place. They know what they've scheduled for, and they can register. They can register in one shot, and that's it. Once they submit, they'll be registered, and they'll start receiving communications through Visit Days through texts and email. Once I've scheduled for my experiences as a student, I will start receiving text messages as well as emails letting me know what I've scheduled for. And so the way Visit Days works is that we'll obviously send them a confirmation with a link that they can go to their itinerary where all the things that they have scheduled for or they are associated with will be in one place. We'll also make sure that we're nudging them because getting them to show up at these virtual experiences is extremely important for a high level of engagement. We got to get them to the door. So the way we do this is to make sure that they get reminders. Maybe one is 1 week away, another one 2 days away. And then on the day of the experience, as you'll read right here, it says online information session starts at 8 a.m. And so this is going to happen on the day of the experience, just 30 minutes before the experience starts. And all they have to do is click on this link, which is always accessible to them, to get right into the experience itself. Once they are done with the experience, we will also send them a survey at the end of the experience altogether so that they know, we want to get that feedback on how that, based on all the things that they did, what was the experience like, and get that sort of circle of data back to us to make sure the experiences get better over time. So once I've clicked on that link, I will be able to get to a full itinerary. This itinerary will be all web-based, so I don't have to download anything as a student. Everything will be on my browser, and I'll be able to see all the things that I've scheduled for. So my itinerary is all in one place I know that I have a keynote speaker that the president's going to be doing between 8 to 9. From 9:30 to 9:45, I have an information session and a virtual campus tour, and a round table with existing students, and then a counselor meeting, and then finally, for my School of Business, I'll be joining the AMA with the dean. So all of these are the things that I scheduled for, and they're all in one place. I'll have all the information I need in terms of what's next, all the things that I have to do, and anyone, if I need to contact at any point, who do I need to contact, and all the other details that I may need to make sure that everything is ready. I can click in on one of the sessions, and I can be like, okay, I know I'll be able to join this session between 8 to 9, and once I click it, it'll take me to the live experience itself. But I'll be able to see some on-demand experience with supplemental materials. So if I want to see a bio of the actual president or a message from the president that's pre-recorded, I'm able to do that right before the live session itself. Same thing with information sessions and campus tour. I'll have the opportunity to sort of go through some videos that are, again, things that are sort of standard and information that I may just need as a prospective student and admitted student. That's just kind of on demand, right? But I can also sort of learn everything that I need to learn about the campus and get a view from existing students of what campus life is like. And then let's talk about a live session. If I want to join a live session that is happening with existing students and it's a roundtable, I can join the session live while also watching some material about student life and learn a little bit about the bios of the students that might be in the roundtable itself. All in one place, and I can click on this Join Us Online. And without downloading anything, immediately I'll be able to go into the experience. And you'll see one of the students that is in the roundtable is already there. And I didn't have to download anything. There's just nothing. It's a simple, easy one click. I can have this experience. I can listen in. And I have the ability to also text a question, right? Right through my phone, I'll be able to text someone at the institution a question I may have and have a conversation during, before, and after the presentation. From there, I can go back and see all the different things that are available for me. So as you can tell, this experience is all conclusive. We're taking all the different technologies that you're using, all the different formats that you want to show your experiences in, and we're bringing it all together so it's really accessible and easy for the prospective student / admitted student. And now, from a standpoint of the institution, all the data is in one place. So we will know which students have interacted at the keynote speaker, who has checked in on each of these separate sub-events, and be able to give you some level of engagement data to see how long they stayed in these sessions, as well as which sessions did they attend and which ones did they not attend. So you'll have a full picture of how your virtual experiences are going just in one place. As I mentioned earlier, now that the student has gone through the experiences, we have now a survey that will go out to them at the end of their experience. So imagine like if the day of they end their experience at 5 p.m., they'll receive this between 5 to 5:30, and they'll be able to click on this link, and it will ask them questions based on the experiences that they had. So we're asking them questions based on things that we auto-check them into. So let's say that I, as a student, went to the roundtable. The live roundtable session that occurred, I can click on this link and it will directly ask me a question that's relevant, which is how helpful was the student roundtable? And so I can answer very helpful, sort of helpful, not helpful. And so I can provide this feedback for every single experience that I did and not the ones that I didn't, right? So it's very contextual. And this will allow you to have the right data to make sure you can iterate on these experiences, but also get some feedback on how these experiences are really panning out as you're experimenting and as you're delivering new virtual experiences to admitted students.